Bitcoin's price is now 25% away from a new all-time high. I'll say that again, Bitcoin's price is 25% away from a new all-time high. On this channel, since the start of 2023, we discussed the likelihood of a parabolic trend showing up, which it now has. We also discussed over the past couple months the potential of a trapped liquidity short squeeze if we were to break above that rejection candle wick high, which we have broken. We've discussed this at length, that if we get above that wick high, the size of that weekly candle, the conversion is a 1 to 1.5 in a trending market, which lands us at 60,000. Bitcoin's price is going to be coming up on a major weekly candle close cluster from 2021, which is the next major zone of interest. All of this and more in today's video. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson. Today is Monday, February 26th. It is the start of the week, and we have a really good start to this week. We are now closer to the all-time high than ever before pre-halving. Over the past month, we've discussed many times the trapped liquidity setup for Bitcoin and why the price would likely be moving up leading into the halving. This setup is still underway. We talked about this many weeks ago, and people were, of course, impatient. But as we said in the last many videos, when you're trading the weekly chart, it takes weeks for your setup to play out, and it is still playing out. And guys, our analysis hasn't changed at all. Sometimes I repeat myself, but it's only because the analysis is playing out. Our short squeeze landing us at 60,000, that is the target, also lines up with the 2021 candle body close cluster. And this is the next major area of interest. Why? Because historically that is a zone of resistance. The market settled up for over a month in this range. So as the price gets to this zone, if we're closing candles below 57,500, it could indicate possible resistance zone. On this channel, we've discussed a lot about the idea that we could get a post-halving dip, and that is certainly something that I'm still considering, but ultimately that dip will probably be short-lived. A short-lived dip, even if that is the case, if we're able to close a candle above that 60,000 zone, above this weekly candle close cluster, that may indicate that it's not going to act as resistance, and we may actually just push through. And that is very similar to 2021. Not just the 20,000 zone here. Also, if you go back to 2017, Bitcoin's price had a couple weeks fighting this zone, but we ended up kind of just pushing through it. It wasn't much of a resistance. Historically, Bitcoin shows us that it likes to push through the all-time high fairly rapidly. It doesn't like to give second chances for everyone to get a nice buy the dip zone. If you're quick enough, maybe you catch that dip before the next all-time high. We kind of just get a rapid push through the all-time high level. Now, it doesn't have to happen, but again, I'm just showing you what Bitcoin's behavior is usually like. Every other cycle, Bitcoin kind of always just swiftly moves through, doesn't give you a second chance, and just puts in that new all-time high. But all of that is just speculation. What we do know is that our trapped liquidity short squeeze setup is underway. It is in play. And that is going to be bringing us to at least 60,000 according to the textbook. So again, be sure to subscribe to this channel if you want to stay updated with this setup to see what ends up happening. In the last video on this channel, we discussed the global liquidity index. And if you type in global liquidity index on TradingView, there is this indicator, and when you click on it, it gives you an index, a line chart of the global liquidity. And what I did was I actually created my own indicator based on that. If you type in global liquidity index on TradingView, you'll see that yesterday I posted one. It is public, it's free to use, called Global Liquidity Index Candles. I credited the author of the other one and created my own one that is just a little bit different in what it does. It gives you the global liquidity index using candle closes. So it's a little bit, I think, easier to read, and it's coded to calculate the sum of all the central banks' liquidity, and then it plots it as a candle. And the reason why this is important, in my opinion, is because Bitcoin cycles generally follow the global liquidity. Now, there's something different happening now that I'm going to discuss why that could be the case. But first, if you go back in history and you look, Bitcoin's cycles are following the global liquidity, the issuance of fiat currency from central banks, the money supply. Bitcoin's price in 2012 to 2014 trending up with the global liquidity index. And then as the global liquidity index starts to sort of go sideways here, Bitcoin's price comes down. And as global liquidity shoots up, Bitcoin's price follows the global liquidity. And then you see that Bitcoin in 2018 starts to top out with the global liquidity. They both go sideways for quite some time until, of course, COVID, when the central banks around the world issued massive sums of liquidity and they both shoot up together. And then also as the global liquidity retracts, Bitcoin's price comes down with it. And so it's a very, very important indicator that people do not discuss very often. But now what we're seeing is Bitcoin's price is diverging away from the global liquidity. We see that global liquidity isn't necessarily ticking up, but Bitcoin's price is. But it's not just Bitcoin, it's also the S&P 500 is doing this as well. The S&P diverging away from the global liquidity, kind of for the first time in a really long time. But my theory for that is the reason why this could be the case is because there's a residual effect taking place from the massive amount of money that was injected into the global economy. So that massive injection having a lasting effect on the market, continuing to affect the market positively. Now I think the global liquidity is starting to come out to a bottom zone. Markets almost never diverge away from the global liquidity. And a lot of people don't think that Bitcoin can go above 100,000 this cycle, but with the way that things are setting up right now, I think it's quite possible that it will, against the crowd's expectations. And a lot of people assume that that's not a contrarian view, but it is, because currently the most popular analysis across crypto, for a while it was that Bitcoin's price was going to go to 10K. And then the most popular analysis now is Bitcoin's price won't go above 100. So I'm going to take the contrarian view that things might just be more bullish than people expect this cycle. And that could especially be the case if global liquidity begins ticking up with the residual effect that's already in play. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, guys, that is it for today's video. Pretty exciting to see that we're less than 28% away from a new all-time high. Be sure to smash the like, subscribe to this channel. And on my channel, we pretty much just discuss Bitcoin. If you guys want to see what altcoins we're buying, be sure to join the Patreon. These prices are going to be going up as we break the all-time high. They always do. We like to limit the number of people that come into Patreon, and prices are going to be probably double what they are now, but you can lock in these prices for a lifetime if you join today. You get direct access to me every day. I'm always in the Discord chat. If you guys have any type of questions you want to ask about your portfolios, altcoins, Bitcoin, whatever, charts, trends, just shoot me a message in the Discord after you join the Patreon. All right, guys, I'll see you all in the next video.